All right, everybody. So I've just given the agenda and we're going to start comparing two parades, one in New York and one in Los Angeles. And we'll finish by discussing the writing assignment. So today in New York City, it's October 31st. Every year there's a big parade. Guess what the parade is called? Take a guess.
Festival?
I'll give you a hint. The Halloween parade. Yep. So New York City holds a Halloween parade every October 31st. And this is what it looks like. Here we go. So I'm going to show you a video of the Halloween parade in New York. And tomorrow in Los Angeles, there's a whole different parade. But let's take a look at what they do in New York City.
The attack didn't deter the big Village Halloween parade 2 years ago, and the rain is not going to stop what is sure to be the biggest party in town tonight. But like years past, the men and women in blue will be mingling with the ghosts and goblins. They want to keep everyone safe. Blocker vehicles and sand trucks also protecting the parade route, along with counterterrorism units and bomb-sniffing dogs. The festivities kick off in less than an hour at Spring Street and 6th Avenue. The parade ends at 16th Street. News 4's Ray Vieta already secured his front row seat. We think this was the best assignment of the day, Ray.
I really think it was, Stacey. So as you mentioned, we're seeing a lot of what you mentioned. The police, the security, the barricades are up. The streets are blocked off. Someone's coughing there. I hope she's okay. I think she's eating cheesecake, so it's a treat already. Where are you from?
I'm from North Carolina.
What do you think of the parade so far, or at least being here today?
It looks really cool. I'm really excited. So we've been waiting here for like an hour. I'm ready.
And she has the best seat because we're right at the start of the parade. The theme is Wild Thing. And we spoke to the first float that's going to be coming down 6th Avenue, and he kind of broke down to me what the theme is all about and what his float is all about. Let's listen in. So tell me what this float is here.
So I'm Cineros, the protector of the forest and all wild things, and I'm here to make sure that the wild things come through this parade unhindered and unharmed. And the Wolperdingers are an elusive German alpine creature which was last sighted in 1478.
And is this your domain here?
This is I rule over all wild things all over the parade, but this is my float for the evening.
I mean, he explained it better than I could, right? There you have. That's what the theme is, Wild Thing. And that float that is expected to come down right here, 6th Avenue. The parade starts at 7. And as Stacey mentioned, it goes from Spring Street to 16th. So, folks, if you're going to be driving around this area, take a look. Streets are blocked off, so you'll probably want to avoid driving around here. But definitely come get your spot because, as you can see, it's already filling up. The parade starting in less than an hour. We're live in Soho tonight. I'm Ray Vieta, News 4, New York.
Okay, Ray, thanks a lot. And that fellow seemed quite capable, the guy who was going to roll over all the wild things. But I've seen a lot of parades, and I don't think anybody actually rolls over the wild things during the parade.
Thank you.
So this is what the parade looks like in New York. So people dress up and they go from one area to the other, and everybody gathers to see the Halloween costumes. So that's New York City's Halloween parade. It happens every year. And before we start talking, I'm going to show you another parade that happens in Los Angeles tomorrow. Anybody want to guess what that parade is called? So if you look at my background, this is the Halloween. This is a symbol of Halloween. But take a look over here. What holiday is this? You could tell me.
Spring?
Take a guess. It looks similar. We don't see a pumpkin, but we see something else.
Old Death?
Oh, who said that? We're close.
In Mexico, I think.
Yes. What's the Mexican holiday? The day after Halloween. called Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead. So in Los Angeles, people are
The attack didn't deter.
people gather for the Day of the Dead parade, and this is what it looks like. Here we go. So let's take a look at what happens in LA.
Prepara la comida, especialmente la que gustaba a las almas servidas, la bebida.
All right, everybody. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a little Venn diagram. And that's what this, I'm going to use the whiteboard. Now imagine if this is your first time seeing anything related to either Halloween or Day of the Dead, and then learning that in different parts of America, these two holidays are largely celebrated regionally and differently. Let's make a little observation about what we see. So let's just take a look at New York's Halloween parade. So the NYC Halloween parade and the Los Angeles Day of the Dead, I'll just put DOD. What are some similarities and differences we could see in both? Anybody? Now it's your chance to share what you observed. Similarities or differences of the two parades?
Similarity, teacher, it's the costume.
There you go. Great job. So I'm gonna right here. Both involve costumes. Yes, excellent. What's another observation?
I think in Los Angeles, dancing.
Okay. So they only dance, okay. So it seems like there's more dancing from your
Yeah.
observation. Okay, more dancing.
Is a parade. I think we have cars, and in LA you can see just people in the streets. It's not when you say
So more like a street fair where people are walking the street, and this is a
carnival,
parade where
carnival.
there's, yeah, okay, yeah, more like a carnival street fair versus a more of a controlled parade. Yeah, I would say that. Sure. Good observation, Doris.
Different to in Los Angeles, they have food. They prepare food for the people who pass away.
Ah, yes, food for the deceased. Yeah, that's not a Halloween tradition. For deceased. That's a big part of it. In places where in your various countries, is there a tradition or a holiday of some sort where you cook food for people who have passed away in your family?
Like how teacher?
I'm just asking, are there holidays where you're from where people will prepare food for someone who's already dead, passed away? Okay. Okay. Yep. It is a Mexican tradition when you remember somebody who's gone, people will gather together and have that person's favorite meal. And sometimes, prepare food for them, even though they're not there. So that's a good observation. Any more similarities or differences between New York's Halloween parade and Los Angeles Day of the Dead parade?
The celebration is not the same, right?
It seems, yeah. Tell us more, Deborah, and just go with what you observed.
Yeah, I think this Halloween is American tradition and Day of the Dead is a Mexican tradition.
Ah, and I love what she's saying, because there's going to be a little twist. There's going to be a little twist. So if Halloween, let's just say, but where is there a huge Halloween parade? LA. Is that America?
Yes.
Right. So everybody start scratching your head. This is where there's going to be a little interesting history, a little history and a bit of a geography lesson. So Deborah's pointing out something very interesting. So yes, I'll just say I'll just say Mexican influence. And does anybody know what part of the world Halloween comes from? Where the word Halloween comes from? It's actually Michael put a little historical link in the WhatsApp group. It's a British influence. The word Halloween is from Hallows Eve, British influence. But the trick-or-treating and some of the manifestations of the way it's celebrated around the world today is more of British. I'll say British and American influence. Okay, very British and American influence. They both involve costumes. Any more similarities or differences that we could compare?
I think in New York Halloween parade, there are a lot of policemen and security, and we can see it in LA.
More cops?
Yeah,
Yeah. It seems like there was
dangerous parade.
less cops. More cops, less cops. Well, just from the two videos, definitely, yeah. It was more structured in one. And more like what Doris said, like a street fair where everybody's walking around. Yeah. Any more observations anybody wants to share? Okay. So I'm going to write a question right here. Why would two American cities, I'm not going to write the question. I'll just say it. Okay. So I'll go back to our, I'll just go back to the slides. Here we go. So there's the video of the Day of the Dead festivities in LA, New York's Halloween parade. So why would two American cities be be known for two separate parades, one after the other? Why would the Day of the Dead celebration be more of an LA tradition, and why would the Halloween parade be more of a New York tradition? That's the question. So I put it in specific language. Why would the Day of the Dead parade be an LA tradition while the Halloween parade be the New York tradition? So there we go. New York, LA. And I'll just put that in the chat. Here we go. Why would New York be known for the Halloween parade and LA be known for the Day of the Dead festival? Let's get a little discussion. You can write in the chat or raise your hand, whatever you like.
I think, teacher, it's like both. I heard a little bit about the Halloween, like they celebrate it for the dead people. They I don't know the detail, but I think it's connected with the dead peoples. You know, the Halloween and I think the LA. They celebrated. I think they celebrated like the Mexican version thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why
But
is
it's connected, like people, they say they come out and the history, I don't know the history in detail, but something related with the dead peoples.
So yes, that's a fact. Day of the Dead is a Mexican holiday. So why would it be more prevalent in Los Angeles? Sorry, I just had to mute you as an echo. Why would it be more prevalent in LA and not so much over here, New York or Boston? Like we have a big Halloween festival in Salem going on right now.
Maybe because LA is more closer to Mexico.
LA is more close to Mexico. Okay, that's true. LA is more close to Mexico. Oh, there's that echo again. I hear myself echoing. Okay. All right. Anyone else?
Teacher, there is in LA there would be like a lot of
Oh, your microphone is all over the place. Yeah, Anila, your microphone has got a ghost inside of it today. It's like it's like trying to go okay. So yes. All right. So Anila said LA celebrates, has the Mexican festival. And I said, why would that be? Olha made a great observation. It's closer to Mexico, of course. Now, there's actually more to it than that. It's not only closer to Mexico, it used to be Mexico. Oh, I love the expression from Olha. Yes. Let me show you a map. So on the East Coast, especially here in the Northeast, the city of New York is named after King Charles II's brother, the Duke of York. Just about every city on the East Coast above Florida, you will find a British influence in the name of the city. The city of York, Pennsylvania, New York, Boston is actually named after a place. The city I live in is Weymouth. There's a Weymouth, England. A small town in England is named Weymouth. So just about everywhere on the American East Coast, there is an influence, a residue of British colonial history. The same goes in the West Coast for the influence of the Spanish. Take a look at this. So I actually did make a slide. I forgot the question I posed. I actually wrote it right here. So that's the question I asked. I forgot I wrote it on the next slide. But anyway, why would these two similar holidays be more prevalent in different parts of the country? So in the American East Coast, you have a more of a Halloween British influence, but you have more of a Mexican influence on the West. Why would that be? The answer is not because it's close to Mexico. The West Coast itself used to be Mexico. To see what I'm talking about, Google this. Everybody quickly Google this event. It's a major historical event right there. Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, 1848. So take your time, Google this event. And everybody watching the recording, you will hear the sound of everybody looking down at their phone, Googling the event. I am loving that I can see Olha's eyes light up. It's great. I'm going to look at the video panel if anyone else. Oh, and I see Anila's eyes light up with excitement. Any more cameras? Okay, good. Narcissa, yep. So, this is just fun for me looking at everybody's eyes light up with new and exciting information. And Doris too. What is the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo? Wait, hold on a second. Yana, you spent time in Guadalajara, right?
When?
You were, before you came here, you were in Guadalajara, Mexico?
No, Playa del Carmen.
Okay. I gotta remember the wrong city, but you'll find this very, very interesting. Just Google Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. In a moment, I'll ask for a volunteer to explain what the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo is?
You want me to answer?
Go for it, Fatima. I was going to wait to see. Yes, tell us, what is the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo?
This treaty is signed on February 2, 1848, ended the war between the United States and Mexico.
Excellent, excellent, good. So it ended a war between the U.S. and Mexico in 1848. Now, can you give us some of the details about the treaty, what the agreement became?
By its term, Mexico ceded 55.
Ceded, good, ceded, gave up, ceded.
Ceded, right? 55% of the territory, including the present-day states, California, Nevada, Utah, New Mexico, most of Arizona, and Colorado, and part of Oklahoma.
There you go. So that's a lot. That's a lot. So everywhere that she's talking about what was ceded in 1848. So here we go. All of this is a map from circa 1838, 1840. Everything that's blue right here used to be Mexico. So if you go, and I'll show you where all these are divided up now. So has anybody here been to the West Coast of America? All right, so in the 1840s, most of the East Coast, it was divided up into smaller states. This is, right, well, actually right here, this line from all the way from present day Maine to Georgia, right here. This is where the US stopped. Florida was up until the 1830s was still part of Spain. And right here, Mexico was more than twice the size of what it is now. It was huge. Mexico was huge, huge country. And in from 1846 to 1848, there was a war between the US and Mexico. The president at the time was James K. Polk, and the US was expanding. And first, Texas began its own independence movement. A lot of settlers moving into this territory, eastern Texas, wanted to declare independence. And then James K. Polk sent troops all the way around, and this was a boat. There was no railroad, there was no transportation system. They had to go all the way past Brazil, down to the bottom of Chile, Patagonia, to the bottom of South America, and then go all the way up to lead an attack in present day Monterey, California. That's Northern California. And the war lasted 2 years, 1846 to 1848. And it ended with Mexico ceding, giving up a lot of territory. So if you look at a map of the United States today, we'd have Texas right here, Texas here. Then you would have several other countries. You would have Nevada, Arizona, and New Mexico. I'm making, not exact, I'm just trying to draw in. These are three other states. Nevada, so Nevada, where Las Vegas is, New Mexico, and Arizona and New Mexico, right here, would all be the border states. And let's say it's further down here. There it is. Further down here, that's it. So all of these would become new states. And then up here, just above Nevada, you would have also Colorado and Utah. So the state of Utah, the state of Colorado, and Texas, every state that borders Mexico today borders Mexico because it used to be Mexico, and Mexico lost that territory in 1848 due to the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. So that's why if you go to a Western city today, it looks like you're in Mexico because it used to be Mexico. So a lot you'll have, it not only is close to Mexico, it was once Mexico. So that's why in the West Coast, you'll have much more Chicano influence than you will on the East Coast. Now, you can tell a little bit about Mexico. Mexico used to be known as New Spain, the way this area is known as New England. Mexico gained independence from Spain about 10 years, well, actually 14 years before fighting with the US. But one thing I like to show, this is a present day map of the American West. So that's where Texas stops. This is New Mexico, another state. This is Arizona. This is Nevada. This is Utah. This is Colorado. These four states are nicknamed the Four Corners because it looks like when you make a line there, they're all in corners, the four corners, where Nevada, Utah, Colorado, and Arizona and New Mexico come together. Well, it's actually just these are the four corner states. So everything here used to be Mexico. So that's all the territory that was lost in 1848. But here's something fun. I'm going to circle names of cities. Okay. Who could read the name of this city?
Mesa Verde.
Mesa Verde.
It means table, green table.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Saguaro.
Saguaro. Mhm.
Saguaro.
Okay. Let's keep going. Hold on a second.
Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Los Angeles.
What's the name of this city?
San Diego.
San Diego.
Okay, now, what language are we all speaking?
I think Spanish.
It's Spanish, yes. When you go to the West, you'll notice that all the names of most of these major cities are Spanish names. That is because all of this was once Spanish territory. So
like us in some city in my country has the name of a Spanish because a lot of Spanish went there a long time ago.
when you
Like
be
in-
more specific, when you say there in my country, remind everybody where.
Morocco.
There you go. Okay. Yes, exactly. Yes, right. Yes, Morocco is the door to Europe. Yes.
Yeah, in Spain, like
Where
you're
Spain
gonna
meets
find like a lot of names.
Europe meets Africa. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Yes. So yes, this time of year, I always like to give a little geography and history lesson. So on the East Coast, most names of most cities are British because this is where the British settled and created colonies. But if you go to the West, most names of cities are Spanish because that's where the Spanish used to be. So that's it. And let's get back to where we were last week. So last week, I was introducing this chapter. We had a conversation about our companies, and we had a nice breakout room discussion. I said to everybody, what makes a company a good company? And everybody talked for a little while. People had comments about, providing good service, how they treat their employees. Now I'd like everybody to open up their books to Let's see, and for Deborah, we'll just send you this in the chat right now. Or actually, if anybody anybody can send, I'm gonna take a picture of these 2 pages and send it in and put it in the WhatsApp group. Does anybody else want to do it for me? I've actually put some notes in my margins, but if anybody wants to volunteer to take 2 pictures of these pages and put it in the chat for Deborah, that would be very helpful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So here we go. I'm going to set up my document camera right now, everybody. We're going to be on page 28 and we'll do our reading. Oh, by the way, it's a little bit of trivia. There is one U.S. state, one state that used to be Russia. Anybody want to guess what it was?
Alaska.
Yes, very good, Olha. Nice job. 1867. We purchased Alaska. Very good. Very good. Usually it takes, when I teach US history in high schools, the students would never figure that out because we're so far away from Alaska. They're like, what? Yes. Yes, Alaska used to be Russia before 1867. So shortly after we got all the territory from Mexico, we kept going and got bigger and bigger. All right. So here we go. Page 28. Let me just take a look in the chat. I'm sorry, not the chat. Let me just take a look in the WhatsApp group. Very good. Thank you so much, Olha. Yes, so Deborah, just take a look in the chat. You can follow these pages. Very nice. All right, so here we go. I'm going to leave the share, change my background, and we're going to read together. Okay. All right. And follow along with a pen. Okay, so I put some notes here from previous times I've used this in previous classes. That's why I thought it would be easier for others to follow along with a more cleaner version. So we'll start right here. This guy with the giant nose is J.P. Morgan. You might have heard the name. There's a bank named after him, Chase Bank. So do we have a volunteer to start reading?
Could I read, please?
Absolutely. Let me just, there we go. So it's nice and focused. So everybody follow along can see. Okay, go for it. Yana, J.P. Morgan.
J.P. Morgan started his career before the Civil War as the son of the banker who began selling stocks for the railroad for good commissions. During the Civil War, he bought 5,000 rifles for $3.5 each from an army arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
And sold them to a general in the field for $22.
Oh, field. General in the field.
Field for $22 each. The rifles were defective and shoot off the thumbs of the soldiers using them. A congressional committee noted this is a small print of an offshore report, but a federal judge upheld the deal as a
Valid. Valid legal.
As a fulfillment of a valid legal contract.
Very good. So in a few words, this is where we use our skill of inferring. You're going to see a lot of words you don't understand here. So this guy made a lot of money during the U.S. Civil War. How did he make so much money during the Civil War? What business makes money during a war? Arms dealing. If you sell weapons, you want war because that's your business. It's how you make money. This guy made a ton of money. He bought rifles really cheap, $3.50. Why were they so cheap?
Because
right there. Daniel, tell us.
Yeah, they are defective. They are not good.
Yes.
They have defective.
Exactly. So there you go. So he buys a bunch of cheap rifles that don't work, sells them to the army. All the soldiers lose their thumb. So this is basically, I'm going to do this with my hand. So I'm going to hold the back of the rifle like this, bang, and then it's what's called a backfiring. It means the gunpowder explodes the wrong way. Instead of going out the front of the rifle to shoot the bullet, it's moving out the back, and the soldiers would lose this. Bye-bye. Yeah. So this guy's making a lot of money sending Americans out to war to lose their hands firing these guns. So when he is charged in court, the judge rules that it was a valid legal contract. Hey, the general who bought them said he wanted them. They signed the contract, so it's not his fault. So that's where I put this right here in my notes. So this is a situation where this guy has made money off of a civil war, and he continued to make more money. So the question in the writing assignment I gave, should government make rules to regulate business? This was a time, he was living in a time where there really was zero regulation over what people in business could and could not do. So some of the wealthiest Americans lived at a time of a complete and total free market, where there was no such thing as a minimum wage. There was no such thing, if you ran a factory, there was no law about how long you could force people to work in that factory. So there was zero regulation. It took centuries, generations for laws that exist today to come into fruition, to come into practice. Yana, who would you like to read next? You can choose anybody you like.
Olga.
Olha,
Yeah,
there you go.
thank you.
Okay. She chose Olha, okay.
Morgan had escaped military service in the Civil War by paying $300 to a substitute. So did other wealthy businessmen like John D. Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, Philip Armour, Jay Coote, and James Mellon. Mellon's father had written to him that a man may be a patriot without risking his own life or sacrificing his health. There are plenty of lives less valuable.
There we go. So let's see. So yes, Olha, you could probably compare the situation in the Ukraine right now. There's plenty of people who would probably love to not have to go go fight. Yeah. And during the U.S. Civil War, these guys, this guy and this guy, John D. Rockefeller, so the companies they started still exist today. His bank, J.P. Morgan Chase, still exists, and Standard Oil. which was broken up into about 16 different companies. Exxon, Chevron was two of them. They didn't have to go fight because they had the money to pay someone else to do it for them. That's what it cost. If you had $300, which was a lot of money at that time, you could pay somebody else to go fight for you. Olha, who would you like to read the next paragraph?
Who wants to read?
Nobody. This is why I ask students to be the dictator. So
Okay.
yeah, Yana chose you. Now you choose
Daniel.
somebody else.
Daniel.
Daniel, you win.
Okay. Yeah, while making his fortune, Morgan brought nationality and organization to the national economy. He kept the system
stable.
He did. We do not want financial convulsions.
Yeah.
And have one thing one day and another thing another day. He linked railroads to one another, all of them to banks, and banks to insurance companies. By 1900, he controlled 100,000 miles of railroad, half the country's
mileage. Very good. Now, Daniel, who would you like to read the next paragraph down here? You are now dictator.
Doris,
your turn.
John D. Rockefeller started as a bookkeeper in Cleveland, became a merchant, accumulated money, and decided that in the new industry of oil, whoever controlled the oil refineries controlled the industry. He bought his first oil refinery in
1862.
And by 1870, set up started oil company of Ohio, made secret agreements with railroads to ship his oil with them if they gave him rebates, discounts on their price, and thus drove competitors of our business.
There you go. So even though I already wrote the word in my notes down here from another class where I was using this, what is it called when one company drives prices so low that no other company can compete? Ending competition, you start using the M word. Monopoly.
Yeah.
Monopoly. All right, let's take a break right there, and it's exactly 11:01, so we'll go back to this the screen share. I'll turn my camera off, and we will take our 10-minute break right here. Let's relax, and we'll pick it up where we left off when we come back. Okay, see you in 10 minutes, everybody. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back. And hang on one moment. We're gonna read page 29. I'm gonna switch the cameras. Here we go. All right, picking up where we left off. Who was the last person to read before the break? Was that was?
It's me.
Oh, okay. Who would you like to read next? Doris, you can choose anybody you like. So Shamara, Letitia, who would you like to read?
Fatima.
Fatima, you win. All right. By 1899.
Okay, let me go to the WhatsApp because I don't have a book.
No worries. No problem. And yes, it was
9. You said
29.
5 or
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, paragraph 5, correct. Yes.
Okay. By 1899, Standard Oil Company was a holding company which controlled the stock of many other companies. The capital was 110 million. The profit was 45 million a year. And John Rockefeller had amassed a furniture estimates at 200 million. Before long, he would move into iron, copper, coal, shipping, and banking.
Very good. Fatima, who would you like to read 6?
Okay. Analia? Easy and quick food with Analia.
Analia, I don't think she, oh, you mean Alice?
Yeah, it's me, teacher.
Oh, Anila, yes, yes.
Sorry.
Go for it, yeah. And your microphone's working okay. Yes, go for it, Anila, yes.
Okay, teacher. Andrew Carnegie was a telegraph clerk at 17, then secretary to the head of the Pennsylvania Railroad, then broker in Wall Street selling railroad bonds for huge commissions, and was soon to be a millionaire. He went to London in 1872, saw the new Bessemer method of producing steel, and returned to the US to build a $1 million steel plant. Foreign competition was kept out by a high tariff conveniently set by Congress, and by 1880, Carnegie was producing 10,000 tons of steel a month, making $1.5 million a year in profit. In 1900, he agreed to sell his steel company to J.P. Morgan for $492 million.
All right. So, paragraph 7. Who would like to read? Oh, actually, Anila, who would you like to appoint? You have a few more choices. Letitia, Shamara.
I think Svetlana
hasn't read. Yeah, she hasn't read.
Yeah.
Your turn, Svetlana.
Morgan then formed the U.S. Steel Corporation, combining Carnegie's corporation with others. He sold stocks and bonds for $1
billion, yeah.
Billion,
300 million.
4 million more than the combined worth of the two companies. How could dividends be paid to all those stockholders and bondholders? By making sure Congress passed tariffs, keeping out foreign steel, by closing off competition and maintaining the price at $28 a ton, and by working
200,000 men.
100,000 men, 12 hours a day for wage, they barely keep their families alive.
Yep. Now, if anybody wants to learn more about the way Carnegie's workers were treated, I'm going to write a major event. You can look up the Homestead strike. Carnegie hired Henry Clay Frick, and they actually lived up the street from each other. They had mansions overlooking Central Park in New York. Both of those mansions are now public museums. But Henry Clay Frick did the negotiations for Carnegie's company in Homestead, Pennsylvania, and it was a major affair when that factory went on strike, because the people who were working for him were essentially worked to death. They were pushed and pushed and pushed. And as they worked harder, he would find ways to pay them less money, which worked out great for him, of course. But if you want to learn more about this, just Google the Homestead strike. And our final paragraph, paragraph 8, Svetlana, who would you like to read?
Maybe Narcissa?
Narcissa, yes.
I found this on the web.
Number 8.
Yep, and so it went.
And so it went in the industrial, after the industrial.
Shrewd.
Sure.
Efficient.
Efficient businessmen building imperials.
Choking
out competition, maintaining
high prices,
price, keeping wages low, using governments
subsidies.
These industries were the first beneficiaries of the welfare state. By the turn of the century, American telephone and telegraph has the monopoly of the nation's telephone system international. Harvester made 85% of the overall machinery, and in very other industrial resources became concentrated and controlled. The banks has interest in so many of these monopolies as that created an interlocking neighbor of powerful corporation director is who sat of the board of many other corporations.
All right. So we'll stop right there. And we'll go back to my background here. All right. Now I'm going to direct everybody to the assignment on Google Classroom. So after reading about reading The Robber Barons by Howard Zinn, let's take a look at the writing assignment I posted for today. I titled it Government and Business. So I put a prompt here. How much should government regulate business? And I kept that open for a reason, in order to have a nice discussion and give everybody a chance to explain their own reasoning. So I'm going to put you into some breakout rooms just to answer that question. on the assignment, I said, make a clear argument in your topic sentence. Make sure that one paragraph connects to each other in a logical way. So remember, a topic sentence, that's the indication at the beginning of a paragraph, what your paragraph is about. Should government regulate business? Perhaps. Perhaps not. Make a clear argument. What do you think? So I'm asking you to argue your opinion, but give examples. And this, let's take a look at what we just read. In this excerpt right here, these three people mentioned, so we've got Morgan, Carnegie, and Rockefeller. In their lifetimes, did they have a lot of rules to follow from government?
No.
Yeah, and Anila's shaking her head. Fatima saying absolutely not. Yeah. So
because it was a word, that's why.
Yeah, they really didn't have a lot of rules to follow at all.
Yeah.
Right. So think about it on your own. Should government regulate business? Should we live in a more of a free market economy, or should there be some structure, some set of strict rules and regulations that business should follow? And this is where I want you to exercise your ideas in conversation. And you can think about your own experiences living in different countries. So I'm going to put everybody into breakout rooms right now. Let's do 2 breakout rooms with at least 6 or 7 people each. Try to shape your ideas, listen to each other. Should government regulate business? And give your own experiences, listen to each other. It should be fun. Here we go. Breakout rooms. Does everybody understand what I'm asking you to discuss? So the question,
yes, teacher.
Yeah. The question is, how much should government regulate business? Should government regulate business at all? Think about it. Talk to each other. Should there be very, very strict, close regulation of business from government? This is where I want you to share your ideas and thoughts. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Here we go. Okay. Oh yes, nice big breakout rooms. 1, 2, 3. So there'll be at least 6 people in each breakout room. And practice listening to each other. Here we go.